It is what it is. And we are live. I want to send a special shout out to anybody watching this on the replay. Shout out to those that watch on the replay and still leave comments. This is the Friday Live brought to you by the Hood. I am Jimmy. I got my partner Corey with me. We also got our brother, man. Our brother Akil Parker is in the building. Kil, what's up with you, man? How are you?
I'm doing really good, man. I'm doing really good. I'm glad to be back on here. It's been a minute.
Absolutely, man. We're gonna have a great conversation, man. Corey, what's up with you, bro? How you feeling?
Listen, I'm living. You know what I mean? I'm daddy daycare all day with my boys. I was in the supermarket today, and I showed the picture of the I was walking down the seasoning aisle.
Oh yeah, I saw. Yeah.
They was wilding. I'm like, damn,
Yo, for folks coming in on both Facebook and YouTube, let us know who's here. Leave us a comment. Please do me a favor and hit the like button. You know what I mean? Give us some likes or what have you. Keep it moving. Us in the building. How are you? We appreciate you going up. Yeah, man, we're going to have some fun tonight. We're going to talk about a lot of different topics. You know what I'm saying? We're going to talk about Akil, who's now a published author. We're going to get into his book. We might talk about Hunter Biden. We might talk about submarines. We might talk about sex clubs in LA. You never know what we're going to talk about, but we're going to have some conversations, man. So keep it moving. Already getting it started, man. And everybody get distracted by Scuba Steve submarine this week. They dominated the timeline, man.
No comment, man. Like
dominated the timeline, but it did dominate the timeline, though, man.
I mean, people was clapping. Like people was clapping. A boy believed in his own work so much that he killed himself.
Yo, the internet gonna get his jokes off, right? But I'm actually a little happy that we didn't have social media like that around 9/11 because the jokes would have been flying and it would have been terrible. Because the internet don't care about nothing or nobody. More folks coming in. Jamil, what up, though?
Yeah.
Here,
no such thing as too soon.
Rochelle's in the building. Happy Friday, Rochelle. How are you? Yo, that was Jamil's question, man. Yo, for those who don't know what we talk about, man. Wednesday, I went on Wealthy Wednesdays with the finance rebel Kamari Ellis, and we had a conversation which was dope. Yo, we did 3 hours, Corey. It's a good thing you didn't show up. We was on there for 3 hours because if Corey was there, it would have been 4 hours. But we was on there for 3 hours, chopping it up, and we got a wild question from Jamil. But I'll leave it alone. But Don is in the building.
What's going on, bro? What's our brother?
What's really good with you, Don, man? Don, I did watch it live today too. You know what I mean? You were talking about, the idea of bootstrapping and your thoughts on that. A lot of folks are here, but not a lot of love. Hit the like and love button so we get more people in here, man. How was you guys' week for everybody watching? We'll make sure we check in with y'all as well. Man, listen, it's a lot going on in the world, man. But so Kil, what do you think about all the submarine talk this week?
So I didn't know too much about it. I saw the jokes and I saw the commentary and I was like, okay, I put a pin in it and I was like, I need to do some research to see what really happened.
Mm-hmm.
But I never got around to it because I was moving and whatnot. So I didn't really formulate an opinion on it. Okay,
that's cool. I know Corey the same way. You don't know, you don't care.
I really don't. People died. I care a little bit about that, but the thing about the thing I don't care about is they believed in what they was doing, right? So, however it turned out, they died on what they believed. So, with that, you knew the consequences when you was going through it. If you calculated wrong, you was going to die a horrible, disgusting death. So you calculated that and you bought that.
The Titanic's still taking people out in 2023 is what's like mind-boggling.
That's crazy.
And that's wild. Like
why do you need to see a ship that's been down there for 120 years, 110 years? That's not a destination.
For you, but for certain demographics, napkin Americans, they get so much money and they get bored with doing regular things. So
you got $1 billion, you can dream up some things to do.
Just to see, this is why you should just spend your time like Hunter Biden, and then you won't have to go through this.
For those people who don't know what happened with Hunter Biden, fill us in. One of y'all to fill us in.
Okay, you can tell us what happened with Hunter Biden, man.
So I was listening to the radio this morning, and apparently Hunter Biden got banned from this sex club out, and it just made me think. I was trying to think mathematically about it, like, because I've never been to a sex club personally, but I'm a little familiar with the criteria for what takes place in the sex club, and it's supposed to be like a anything goes type, eyes wide shut type joint, and to just imagine like how what he was trying to do was too extreme for even one of the most extreme places.
Yeah.
So basically, what did you have to do mathematically for them to say, no, bro, you can't, your money's no good here?
Exactly.
Like, what did you have to do?
Y'all did see that video leaked to him a while ago where he was with the hooker and he had like crack and they was arguing about the amount of crack he had. Y'all ain't see that video?
No, man, I don't pay no
boy. Hunter be out here in his bag, man. He taking full advantage of a daddy spot, man. I mean,
his brother got, didn't he marry his dead brother's wife?
I don't be into too much of their business, man.
I remember something that happened like that. I think his brother,
I just know that every time he be wild,
he married his dead brother's wife.
Man,
so he uncle stepdad. He uncle stepdad to the kids.
That sounds familiar. That sounds a little familiar.
I mean, I can't confirm nor deny that. I just know he be wild. Every time he get caught up in like a precarious situation, it always ends up on the timeline because Hunter be wild. You know what I mean? The memes get to flying. Ashley, what's good with you, Ashley? How are you? My friend in Ratchet Instagram feeds. Ashley's in the building. Good evening, everybody. Cookie, good with you. What's good with you? Man. So
before we go any further, Jim, congratulations to your prodigy and progeny, your son, for graduating, man.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Those moments deserve to be applauded and awarded, and your son did his thing.
Yeah.
And so congratulations to your boy.
What's the next step in the journey?
So he called the audible. He was originally supposed to go to North Carolina A&T, but he decided that he wanted to stay a little closer, so he's going to Morgan State, the national treasure.
Ooh.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Ooh. Hold up. Didn't you go to Morgan?
I did.
So did you have something to do with that?
You ran the play for him? You ran the play for him?
No, I really didn't. Like, I was sitting back. I kind of let him, be independent in his whole like decision-making process. And, I was pushing him toward HBCUs. But I mean, I've been doing that his whole life though. But I thought at one point, because I've actually visited Morgan. I was at a conference out there last September. And I was just on campus. And a lot of things have changed since I was there because I came out in 2003. So a lot of things changed, a lot more building, different types of progression in certain ways on campus. And I was just sitting back and I was like, this would be a good fit for Nassim. But I never told him that though. I was like, I didn't want to influence him. I kind of just was letting him, do his thing. And, after he told me that he was having second thoughts and he was considering going to Morgan instead of A&T, that's when I told him, I was like, I think Morgan, out of all the schools that you applied to and got accepted to, I think Morgan would probably be the best fit, like, for you.
So you didn't push him, but you added a little bit of sauce once you figured out that
I confirmed it. So in case he was iffy, I was like, well, I definitely think that's a good idea for you. So after he said it.
What's his ideas now? What he wants to study? I mean, I recently say that is because I know everybody changes once they get a feel of the world. But what's his ideas right now?
So he wants to major in nursing. He wants to go into nursing and then become a nurse anesthetist. So I'm not sure how that is similar to an anesthesiologist, but I'm not sure.
I don't know what they do, but that sounds like it's important.
I'm not sure how much it differs from anesthesiology, but it's something along. It's definitely in that area.
Yeah, that's not my wheelhouse, but it sound important though, right? It sound like they
facts.
Yeah. So we got folks in the chat saying congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Rich and Rochelle as well. Hey, Latoya, what's good with you? How are you? Yeah, hey. Man. So man, congratulations with that, man. I'm always glad to see young brothers doing amazing stuff. But you also still doing amazing stuff for yourself, brother, man. One of the reasons we talked about like, we got to get you on. Although we love having you on, you come on as many time you want to. Our next time, we already talked about our next time, man. We got to do the Neely Fuller and Charles Blow one. But right now, tonight, we're going to talk about the fact that you are now a published author, man. So first and foremost, before we talk about your actual book, how's it feel to like be able to say that and put that by your name?
It's kind of surreal, because it's been I guess I don't know if I want to say anticlimactic, because the book was done a while ago and I was kind of just procrastinating and kind of BSing about like finalizing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the content was all done in October.
Got you.
Then I wanted to get a cover. So then I was kind of trying to look into cover art and all of that. And then I found out I had a cousin that's an illustrator, a distant cousin. And then I linked up with her. And then, so I was waiting for her to do the cover art. So then the cover art was done like about March. But then I was kind of just sitting on it. I had the manuscript done. Then I had the cover art done. But then I was trying to decide like, okay, am I going to self-publish or am I going to do go to a publishing house or something?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I kind of finally in the last couple of weeks I was like, nah, I gotta get this done. I can't keep sitting on this anymore. So and then I had to fight with the Amazon KDP John that like formatting, and then I was getting frustrated, and I was like, oh man, like how do I do this? How do I do that? And then but it finally worked out. It worked out, and now the book is like this a proof copy of it. You know what I'm saying? I need to still order like some actual copies, but this is a proof copy. So it got the strip on it, not for resale. The boot.
Yeah.
That's like how.
But may I ask you a question though, right? Because I remember the first time, like the first book I wrote, when I got that proof in my hand, I felt like I said, "Oh, like you know what I mean." That's that feeling. Like, damn, something won't be around even when you're not. Like, so that has to just be a good feeling overall.
Yeah, it is. It is a good feeling, I guess. But I'm probably more happy about the fact that because this little girl is supposed to be a Sada. That's supposed to be me. And
I picked up on it as soon as I saw it. I knew what it was.
So yeah, so I'm more happy about that. She's I kind of get to put her out there as like, cause she's really strong in math, and she's real confident, and that's kind of what I'm trying to put out there and try to create for the rest of our community. Because like me, like being a math teacher and a math professor, it's like expected, like, your kid's gonna be good at math. But I'm like, I want that for everybody. I want the parents to be able to like, feel confident that they can like develop their children the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And, like all of our children be able to do that, so the collective, so we can like, really be able to solve our problems. Cause that's the hidden benefit of math for real, is like problem solving. And like a lot of times, like, we get so caught up, like I've been thinking lately, like math is like quality rap music, and that quality rap music has a lot of metaphors in it, a lot of double entendres, triple entendres, and everything. That's how math is, because like some people see the surface. They just kind of like with rap, like you get caught up in just the wordplay and just how the words rhyme, not thinking about the deeper meaning of those phrases and those bars. So with the math, you see the equation on the board. If you don't know how to think more deeply, like what those variables really represent, what they could represent, because you might be looking at an equation that represents why, like, well, why is West Philly so poor, but Ardmore getting all this bread? You know what I'm saying? Just right up the street for real, or Lower Merion. Like, why is, like, I used to talk to the youngins at Overbrook about that. Like, well, why is down the bottom look like that, but Lower Merion, like that area, where Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, where he went to high school, why does that look like that?
Mm-hmm.
And like, so you might be looking at an equation that really lays it out and represents that, variables there, those numbers are there, and those relationships are there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely, man. We got some comments about it. The first comment, I just want to get this out the way because Ashley trying to snitch on me. She said, just so we're clear, Jimmy is a racket one, and I support his interest because I don't judge. Okay. Listen, I'll be that. You know what I mean? I'll be that. Latoya says, proud of you, Akil. The book should be arriving in a few days.
Nice. And what's up to the twins? I want to say what's up to the twins.
Yeah. Shout out to the twins, young geniuses. Jose is in the building. And he said, congrats, Kill. He's ordering his tonight.
Nice. We got a lot of authors in our.
Yeah.
Jose is a published author also.
And Cookie says, congrats, Akil. And also, shout to Brother Greg, said, congratulations, Kill. Like, yeah. So, man, you make sure you guys go out and support. It's on Amazon, right? So you can go right to Amazon and get the book. And the book is All This Math, right?
Well, the full title is How to Use All This Math.
How to Use All This Math.
And it's volume one, because I already, like I said, it's going to be a kind of like a series. I'm trying to do it like, I know your man Jim don't really bang with Jawanza Kajufu. We was talking about him before, but it's kind of like how the counter and the conspiracy to destroy black boys started out as like different pieces, and then he condensed all of them once he did like I guess the third part or the fourth part into one book. So that's how
that's how I know you were intellectual. I was getting ready to say like the blueprint, but you talked about, you know what I mean, like you took it a whole other level, like, you know what I mean, like my analogies be you know, to surface level.
Volume 1, like Jay and them.
Yeah, I was about to say like the blueprint. He talking about now. He went a whole different place.
I thought about that too after the fact, you know. But you know what the thing about that is, like, I wonder if Jay-Z got that whole concept from Frederick Douglass, because you know his the second John after the narrative, the short John when he was still enslaved, well he was still on the run, that came out 1845 narrative Frederick Douglass, but then he had Life and Times of Frederick Douglass. Well, that was actually his third one, because My Bondage and My Freedom was the second one. That was like 600 pages. Then Life and Times was like 800 pages. You know, I remember reading that and I was like, oh, Life and Times of Frederick Douglass. I wonder if Jay got the idea for that. You know,
probably not. But I bet you if you say that, he'll say he'll take credit for that. But that's either here nor there. You know what I'm saying? Another congratulations. Shout out to Brianna. Yeah, make sure everybody go support Brother Akil, man. It's very important that we support this brother. That's a great practical example. People need to know that math can be used for everything strategically. Yeah. One of the things that you talked about is we named the episode this is revolutionizing math instruction. Explain what you mean by revolutionizing math instruction and why. You gave an example of you know, how to kind of communicate it to the youth, but the idea of math instruction being revolutionized. Talk about that for a second.
Well, one thing is like, you know, the delivery methods. So right now we kind of, you know, I grew up this way. Y'all probably grew up this way, or at least a lot of our peers grew up this way, where we rely on the schools to give us our math. We may, you know, in your household, your parents may like speak in certain ways and use certain advanced vocabulary. So when you go to school and you learn, you're sitting in your English class or your language arts class, then it's not as intimidating to you because you're familiar with the English language, you know, to that degree. But then when you go to math class, like a lot of us, we go to math class cold because, like, you know, in the household, we may not be doing just like percentages off the top, just in random conversations, you know. So what I want is for us to like reorient ourselves and start doing more of that at the home, and really not even stopping at just the elementary level or middle school level math. Like I want us, my goals are for us as a community to be like have old heads in the community, on the block, in the rec centers, in the households, wherever, teaching trigonometry, teaching calculus to the young brothers and sisters, you know. So what happens is when they go to school, if they still go to like, you know, the public schools and charter schools, and we don't have a network of independent, like African-centered schools for our children, then they go into the schools for practice. It's like, I'm just coming here for practice. Like, so you're not even really, like, if you got a racist teacher or a teacher that don't like you or a teacher that's incompetent, it's like, that teacher is rendered much, much more irrelevant because I just really need you to give me the practice. I might have a couple of questions here and there, but for real, my old heads already taught me this. They already laid the foundation for me. Kind of like with sports, like, a lot of us, we go to, you know, we learn how to play certain sports, basketball, football, baseball, whatever, like in our neighborhood, you know, hanging out with our friends. And then we go to school and we might try out for the team just to be more competitive and get to travel around and play other schools and other young people, you know, and just to develop our craft. But that's what I want it to be in terms of like mathematics education. Like I want us to be able to like be self-reliant in that way and be able to be responsible for us to, you know, for our own education. And some people may have said that in the past, but I know that a lot of times when people say stuff like that, like this is what the black people should be doing, this is what the black community should be doing, like it sounds good, but a lot of that is just like, that's their way to like kind of just be negative toward the black collective because they're not really offering like resources or solutions. They're kind of just, it's almost like they don't even really want that to happen, but they just want to point out like, well, this is why y'all can't win and this is why we can't win. They really just kind of, it's like anti-blackness, it's like internalized anti-blackness. So, you know, a lot of people are very, very able to be critical of us as black people, but then they're not able to offer resources and like solutions. So my hope is that this book will be the beginning of like some of the solutions where we can, you know, start doing mathematics like in the house, in the kitchen, in the car, when you're riding around, just little basic things that's all around us, like that you might not notice, you know, like I live, breathe, and sleep math like all the time. So I'm just like in random places and I'm just like, just seeing, oh, we could like somebody, every time you see that, you could do this like math calculation, or you could, you know, practice your math skills. Like I got a chapter in the book called license plate games. So when you ride in the car with your children, you know, and if they can see the car in front of them, just look at the number. You can have them just look at the numbers on the license plate in front of them and just practice their addition facts or practice their subtraction facts or practice their multiplication, division, just with those numbers right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you'd be surprised, like, how think about all those car rides that they take and all that extra addition practice that they wouldn't have gotten because you might not have thought about, you know, them even doing that. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to point that out there. It's a lot of little examples. So it's like 20 chapters in a book, and each chapter is an example of a way that we can deal with something that we encounter on an everyday basis, whether it's in the grocery store, the kitchen, you know, like I said, in the car, riding around, where we can then use that to teach algebra skills, to teach arithmetic skills. So the goal is like that numeracy and that math confidence will be built early on. So by the time they go into the school, it's like, you know, like I put up a Facebook post like one day and I was like, I want our young people to go into math classrooms with the same swag and confidence that Kobe had when he walked on the basketball court, or LeBron has when he walks on the basketball court, or Jordan had when he come like the Madison Garden, because that's why I hated Jordan, because he used to like get a Knicks, you know, hell all the time. But you know, I want for our young people to like feel that level of confidence, you know, when they walk into the math classrooms. But in order for them to have that, then they're gonna have some prior development. Some, you know, they gotta have some foundational skills development.
Yeah, and I want to talk a little bit about that, but I want to show you some of these comments. Tamika says, "Can we excuse algebra because algebra is evil?" No algebra. I'm starting a petition.
Algebra is the foundation for all the higher level maths.
All of it, yeah.
So she wants to play
listen, man. I'm not on the level of Akil, but I teach math, and so these young people are they're struggling. They don't have foundational skills, and so and when I'm trying to teach higher level math, I literally end up teaching foundational 4th and 5th grade math in algebra classes because they don't have the foundational skills to build on to be able to get to the higher level math.
So, Tamika, that's a great question. I'm glad you asked that, because that's the thing about like all of this stuff. No, pre-algebra is the worst. It's interesting because and real quick also, Rich says that license plate game is a great idea. Every once in a while, like I'll see it online, where people talk about whatever their profession is and how they don't use math. And I see people say I'm no good at math. I've seen kids say they're no good at math, right? And within that same conversation, they'll start talking about NBA statistics and know every percentage. They know, like, you know, advanced analytics in NBA. And I'm like, that's math, right? So I've even heard people, I heard one time Rick Ross talk about, like, I don't know why they taught me math in school. They should be teaching me X, Y, Z. But then in the same interview, he was talking about calculating rents for the real estate that he's buying. I'm like, that's algebra.
It's algebra.
It's actually all day. Point I'm making is a lot of times we don't even recognize like some of these problems in our everyday life that we're actually doing is actually math. You know how many real estate people tell me they don't like math, but this is what they do? Like, I'm just like,
all day.
How do you not even understand that's math? And I think that's the part of, you know, to your point about how math is marketed to us, something else we talked about in the past. Because a lot of times when we get these algebra books and these textbooks, it's like, you know, Johnny and his apples, or, you know, Sarah and her this. Like, if we use actual examples that we use in our life, I think a lot of us would, you know, especially as we're coming up, correlate to it differently.
Yeah, I got a theory about all that too. So my theory is that there's a lot of, like, just like you said, marketing. It's marketing and propaganda, you know. And I think that for Black people specifically, not just Black people, but, you know, that's what I'm concerned with. I'm concerned with my own community first and foremost. Mm-hmm. With Black people, we have to be programmed and conditioned to believe that math is too difficult. We have to be programmed and conditioned to believe that it's irrelevant. We have to be programmed and conditioned to believe that we're not intelligent enough to master it, because the deeper issue with mathematics is problem solving. It trains you in problem solving and critical thinking. Now, here's the thing, right? We live in a society where, and this is another, you know, advanced level math. There's an advanced level math called game theory, right? And we deal with like zero-sum games, right? Like when I win, you lose. When you lose, I win, right? That's how a lot of the society is set up. So if I have a problem there's always going to be somebody that's benefiting from my problem. That's the Latin phrase "cui bono," for like who benefits, right?
Mm-hmm.
No matter how bad something is, and like you see it on the media all the time. Like if we talk about gun violence is a bad thing. It's harmful to a lot of people, but we never talk about who benefits from gun violence. And there are a lot of people and entities, companies, whoever, that are benefiting from gun violence. So if you take a whole group of people and you convince them that the number one tool that they could use to learn how to solve their problems is irrelevant to them, then they're much less likely to be able to solve their problems as a collective. Now, what that means is those groups and people that benefit from those problems are safe and comfortable. Because what happens is if I'm able to solve my problem, now I have created a problem for the people that were benefiting from my problem. Because now they don't have that benefit no more. It's a zero-sum game. So I got to try to. So what happens is they've created a situation where we don't want to solve. We can't solve our problems because the main tool that could be used to solve the problems we've been conditioned so effectively for such a long time. Not even just in school by looking at the textbooks, but in the media, in movies, TV shows, like even like how like whenever like something we're trying to express something that's too difficult or complicated, it's always going to be like some type of something dealing with like calculus or something higher level math to reinforce that idea that math is too difficult. But it's really a lot of cap, because I promise you, like, it's things that are a lot more difficult than math, than certain levels of math that people do easily. Like I can make an argument that the game of spades to be good at spades is more difficult than doing algebra, most of the concepts in algebra too.
If you know how to play poker at a high level,
yeah.
Right? I mean,
because you got to calculate at what percentage when you get the cards and the cards are on the field, you have to calculate what percentage your hand has of winning.
Right in our wheelhouse, right? If you're trading options, right? All of this stuff is math.
Probabilities.
Yeah. So, I was actually thinking about your day, Akil. I was working on a model, and I was trying to by hand figure out like the coefficient of variation. So I was using a formula. And I just got frustrated because I had so I use a software. I use SPSS, but it's on one computer. And I didn't have that computer. With the software, you just ask it to solve for you, and it gives it to you. But I was like, I got the formula here. But anyway,
it's tedious, man. That's the thing with statistics. Like, statistics is not like hard or difficult, so to speak. It's just very tedious.
Very.
You gotta have a certain type of discipline and patience, and be able to do things in a systematic and methodical way. And another thing, like with a lot of mathematics, if you make one error, you want one negative sign is off, then you just blew everything. Like the
beauty of math is something that I heard Chris Rock say once. He said, there's math and everything else is debatable. Right. Mm-hmm. So I mean, that's the beauty of math, though. We got some questions, right? Shout out to Aaron out there, mortgage and loan officer. He says, does the GEFs have any exercises to do with first to third grade, some basic stuff that's fun but engaging? May not be the right place for the question. Great content, y'all. Yeah, we appreciate the question, Aaron. Great question. You may want to check out Kill's work. Kill has a YouTube channel, where he goes over all kinds of stuff, and his YouTube channel is All This Math. Yeah. So look up All This Math. He puts out content all the time. I know you're on TikTok, Instagram at All This Math, and it's funny because I find myself in the crib like watching your videos sometimes, trying to answer you and the side of me getting busy, and I'll be like trying to see if I can answer the questions. It's actually fun for me though, because for one, I'm a nerd, but for two, it's like trying to see what I remember.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I got a question for you outside of this, man. How does it feel as a mathematician when like I probably like once every week or once every 2 weeks, you see one of these either FOIL or PEMDAS questions? They always get on the timeline and people are arguing about the answers. Like, do you jump into those, or you just leave it alone when people be arguing about these? They be on the shade room, they be on everybody's page.
I usually mind my business, but to a certain extent, because somebody ends up tagging me in it, and since they tag me in it, then I just I get an answer, and I just do a little promo hashtag All This Math, and I just kind of.
I wonder if it's a frustration when you see somebody acting like they know the answer. Like, yeah, this is definitely this. Y'all don't know what y'all talking about.
No, at this point, it's funny, kind of borderline hilarious, because like my man, like Kwame Ture, one of our greatest ancestors, great influence on me. My youngest son is named after Kwame Ture. One of the things he said was, he's very, very ardent critique of capitalism, right?
Mm-hmm.
That American capitalism will not only make you ignorant, it'll make you arrogant in your ignorance. And sometimes I'll be on Instagram just like looking at the comments like, damn, like, they going hard. And I'm like, it's okay if like you don't know something but like what I don't like is when people become condescending and they become mean, like, and like, damn,
that's
wild. Do you even math?
Wrong.
Like, hey, listen, I be on them joints all day as a math teacher, and I'm like, man,
loud
I'm looking at them joints. I don't even respond to them joints. I don't even. Most of the time, I don't tell people I'm a math teacher because I don't want people to do what they do with you, which is tag me in them joints. So,
but especially with the PEMDAS, with the PEMDAS, it's a simple
because they don't understand that you do whatever comes first.
Yeah,
it's division or multiplication. It's not just multiplication, division. It is whichever one comes first.
Yeah.
And that's where they always make the mistake.
Hey, at me, man. That's where I make the mistake. At me, man. Because I be PEMDAS and I be following like PEMDAS to the left, but
that's why some teachers don't like. So it's like it's a gift and a curse. The mnemonic devices, they be a gift and a curse. The little acronyms and everything, they can help you. But if you don't have a core conceptual understanding, those acronyms can hurt you because what'll happen is you'll just remember the acronym, and it makes sense.
Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally.
Yeah, you're like, well, the M comes before the D, so therefore it might. But it's like it really could be PEDMAS at the same time. It just depends on the situation, like Corey said. But yeah, a lot of teachers don't like FOIL neither. They don't like because
first outside, inside, last, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's helpful.
What's wrong with FOIL? What's like? Let me know what's good with FOIL. Like what?
I mean, it's just a distributive property, but I think what happens is people don't really sometimes they don't recognize what's actually happening. It's like the first term gets multiplied by both terms in the other binomial, and the second term gets multiplied by both terms in the other binomial. So as long as you know that, if you recognize that, then it's cool. But I think FOIL is not I don't think FOIL is as confusing as PEMDAS can be, or order of operations can be. PEMDAS tends to like oversimplify it because it's like that footnote, like multiplication or division, depending upon what comes first. But a lot of people look at it like it's always
that right there though is how it's the same. It's basically different versions of the same problem, and what you said is always the way they trick people.
Yeah. Or the other thing is this, like how so it's like another thing with math is like we got to understand that math is a language, and just like we got words, especially in like our slang as Black people, like one phrase can mean so many different things, but depending on the situation or the context, like just like saying you good, like that question, depending on the scenario, it's like can mean a lot.
Yeah, because voice and the tone and the inflection mean a lot when you say, like, if I ask you, yo, Killer, you good? I mean no harm. But if I catch you in the wrong place at the right time, I'm like, yo, Kill, you good? You're like, oh, who is you talking to? Oh, easy. What are you? Who? I'm good. Are you good? You know what I mean? Like,
so that's how the parentheses are, because in some cases, the parentheses are a grouping symbol meant to let you know, okay, these numbers go together. This whatever's inside these parentheses that gets worked out together, separate from everything else. But sometimes the parentheses is just there to show multiplication. So again, people memorizing the acronym and not understanding the concept. They say, well, PEMDAS, P stands for parentheses. I see parentheses. So that means I got to do whatever is next to these parentheses first. But that's not really what it means.
You have to group what's in the parentheses first. It doesn't say you do anything to it besides group what's in the parentheses. See, that's where people don't understand, like like you said, the language of it, because parentheses does come first. It's just grouping the things in the parentheses first, though. You don't do anything to anything inside the parentheses, and until the order that it comes in.
All right, let me catch up on these comments because I know Tamika about to cuss y'all out right now. So
shout out to Tamika. I'm helping her with some work. I was helping her with some work, so she said she was going to check it.
Pre-algebra is cool. Pre-calculus is the devil. We have to start making math practical and approachable, and also remind our Black children that we are the foundation of math. Oh,
thanks.
Preaching.
We are.
Yeah. It's the language of the universe. Fact.
Also facts.
Keep it moving says 2 + 2 will always equal 4 unless Elon Musk changes it. This the one. She says, I'm saying this, and I have a bunch of kids who love math. I actually love math except for algebra.
It's like, I mean, you'll hate it till you love it.
Math. Cam, what's good, Cam?
Hey, what's going on, Cam?
Young legend. Here's one, right? I know how to calculate billable hours like a whiz, but graphs can go to hell. Now, if you calculate billable hours, that's technically algebra.
She just said, but the graphing is killing her.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of stuff with math. You just got to be, if you're not effectively taught how to do it, then, because I think, and this is another issue with math education, mathematics instruction. A lot of times we give students stuff and we expect them to just figure it out, like without showing them. So like a lot of us become conditioned that, well, if I sit in a classroom and the teacher or the professor, whoever, just gives me something, if I don't automatically just know how to do it, then there's something wrong with me. But it's really not nothing wrong with you. It's like, and then because you look at other people, you be looking at other people in the class like, oh, they already know how to do this. So we make assumptions that they just automatically, just intuitively just knew it. They never saw it neither. And they just automatically know how to do it, not knowing that they might have already been exposed to this, or they might have had a tutor, or they might have had it really already showed them how to do this. So when they doing it in class, it's like, it's like they seen it for the second, third, or fourth time. Like I tell people, you got to be very careful about how do you decide that you're not good at math? Like, what is your standard of measurement? Who are you comparing yourself to? You got to be comparing yourself to some standard. And you got to be careful, because if your child is in class with like my son or my daughter, and you don't know their background, you don't know who their pop is, then you're going to be looking at them and then like, damn, like, teacher just wrote.
Why don't you know this?
Not seen done already. Damn, like, what's wrong with me? No, it's nothing wrong with you. But you just don't have a dad that's a math professor.
Yeah.
That's the only thing, but you wouldn't know. You don't know that. So a lot of times we got to stop and sit back and just think for a minute. Like, well, why do I think that I'm bad at math? Like, what are the metrics? Like, what specifically has made me? And sometimes it's like grades.
That's math.
But grades is another, can be tricky too, because like it's like we rely on our grades in a math class, and a lot of people fail math classes or get low grades in math because you might have had a teacher that doesn't give partial credit. And I see the value in giving partial credit. I also see the value in not giving it, right? But if you had a teacher that doesn't give partial credit, right? You might take a quiz, random example. Quiz might be 5 questions, okay, out of 100%, 100 points, 20 points for each question, but it's no partial credit. You might have did the first 3 questions mostly correct. You might have left out a negative sign on the first one. You might have inverted a number that you shouldn't have. You might have rewrote the wrong number that you shouldn't have on the second or third one. But most of the work is done. You understand the concepts. You made careless errors. So you lost 60 points for careless errors. So you end up getting the last 2 questions correct fully. You get a 40 on the quiz. Your teacher might not have had the time to like break it down for you and show you like, you really actually have more understanding than your numerical grade reflects. Yeah. And I'll be wondering like how many of us had experiences in math class coming up through 12 where we were in those situations and we just like, well, damn, I failed. But if you don't really dig into that and unpack it and be like, well, you only got a 50 because, if you'd have got that part right and that part right and that part right, you have more understanding than you think you do. But if you never have that conversation or never get to like really look into it, you'll just check out because you'll be like, well, nah, I can't get it. I'm not that good. Because it's those numbers. If you don't understand what the numbers really represent. And it might be just an issue of like, well, if you'd have had partial credit, leaving out that negative sign might have been just, oh, let me take off 2 points. Take off 2 points here. So instead of getting a 40, that student that got the 40, in a class where the teacher gives partial credit, they might have ended up with a 92 or 85 or something.
Yeah, my thing is, a lot of times in the classroom, you'll ask students to show their work and they'll try to shortcut it and not show the work and just put an answer. And so that's part of the reason why a lot of students will fail, because they don't want to take the time to show their work. Like everything is microwave. I know the answer. I'm just putting the answer.
You can't help them, right? Because
I can't get now. I can't. I don't know where you went wrong. I can't see your thought processes. I can't say, look, you went wrong by putting a plus sign instead of a minus sign. I can't say you forgot to do what's in the parentheses first before you know what I mean? I can't tell them any of these things because they just put an answer. Exactly. And so if they just put an answer, all I can do is give them a response to that answer. You know what I mean? Like, what that answer is either correct or it's incorrect. I don't have any wiggle room if you don't have any work shown.
Let me get to some more of these comments. Throw some quiches in the word problems and replace cards, spades for the context of the question and watch that soar. Right? Got to be relatable.
So another thing, like to Corey's point, about, you mentioned, we was talking about Neely Fuller earlier. One of Neely Fuller's concepts is to stand by your work. So that's why he be like, you know, he has a video on YouTube where he's talking about standing by your work, and he's like, he's using it to address like as a general concept in our community. Like, so really, like the whole snitching thing, that shouldn't be an issue, because like nobody shouldn't have to tell you, like, stand by your work. If you killed them,
that's people, what you do. That's what you do.
Your work, like nobody shouldn't have to tell you. So like I apply that in mathematics instruction in this way, because especially now with AI coming, you know, artificial intelligence, Chat GPT. I mean, we already the apps like photo math that the kids already know about, you know, have already been around, you know, so you can just, you know, anybody watching this, just know, like, your children can go on their phone and there are apps they can download. Photo math is one of them, Mathways is another one, and they can take a picture of any problem, and the app will give them step by step, get the problem worked out step by step from step 1 to step 5 or whatever, how many steps. But the thing is, I challenge my students. I'm like, listen, tell me why it's right. You know, if they give me the right answer, I'm like, tell me why it's right. And, you know, if they give me the wrong answer, I'm like, tell me why it's wrong. You know, and then I do it to like, try to like, you know, develop a resiliency in them too, because sometimes when people talk to an authority figure, if they get questioned at all, they automatically, if you don't have enough, I'm trying to build their confidence up, because I'm trying to let them know, like, just because somebody question you don't mean you're wrong. I want you to, but you got to be able to stand on your work. And that's the thing.
That's so powerful, man.
That's one of the beautiful things.
Speaking of beautiful things, that's the one thing
things with math is because, like, if I'm right, I should be able to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt from step
right
to why I'm right. The numbers don't lie. Like, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. I should be able to prove, like, yo, this is why I'm right, and I stand on that. And you should be able to stand on that. And then it's like, it's a life skill. It's like character development at the same time.
Yeah, man.
Because you're teaching them that, like, nah, you got to stand by your work. Like, I say this is the right. I say x equals 7, and you saying x equals 9. Nah, x equals 7. I'll show you.
Man, even if you're wrong, stand by it, right?
Yo, and that's the thing, right? So I'm in class, right? And sometimes I'll get to moving too fast, and the students will correct me, like, oh, you forgot to put X, Y, and Z. And if I forgot to put X, Y, and Z, the first thing I'll do is say, you're correct. Yeah. Because that's another thing that builds confidence, right? Because if they can see your mistakes, then that means they were paying attention well enough to be able to see and function. Sometimes I'll mess up on purpose. I'll be up there writing, and, you know, I'll put an 8 instead of a 9, or I'll put a plus sign instead of a minus sign.
See if they,
and I'm like, to see if they were paying, just to see if they were paying attention. Yeah. And a lot of the time, a lot of students are like, no, that's not what go there. This would go there, you know. And then I know that, you know, we're on the right path and I can move forward.
Listen,
because
man,
they're paying attention.
The great Negro philosopher Slim Charles said, even if it's a lie, man, we fight on
that lie.
That's right. So
fight on that lie.
I said, I sure will. People don't realize that they aren't necessarily bad at math. They just have difficulty with certain mathematical formulas. Yeah. I'm joking about algebra, even though I really think Lucifer created graphs. But when you break the formulas down in real world terms, they make sense. Latoya is in the building.
Here.
Hey.
Samika, I'm going to repeat. I'm going to law school. I'm not using algebra. Now, Samika, I went to law school. That's not true, actually, right? Because, again, even something as simple as billable hours, that is math, right? That is math, and that is algebra. But also, when you're in law school and you have to make certain decisions, especially if you're like, you know, practicing in a courtroom, it's probability and statistics, right? Math is everywhere. There's no way to avoid math. I don't care what profession you have. I don't care if you're an NFL player, if you're an attorney, right? If you're a doctor, doesn't matter what you do. Pilot, everything involves math, right? Because the thing about making certain decisions as an attorney, you're really using math. It's probability, which is math. Cola is definitely in the building. Shout out to the whole Colas here. All right, so let's see. We got by the way, Akil, that's the portmanteau. You know what I'm saying? Corey and LaJoya is Cola. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I call them. I call them Cola. That's Cola. And that's what math is about. Discipline, and we don't always have the appropriate conditions to do that. Ooh, that gets into a deeper conversation, right? And shout out to Don for sharing your website, which is allthismath.com. Aaron says, dope. Appreciate it. Nerds unite. We are all here.
All right.
Instagram will make you lose brain cells. Man, listen, man. It's funny. I was having a conversation with Kamari. First of all, shout out to our brother Kamari. Kamari was on our podcast this Wednesday that dropped. Was a dope conversation. We were talking about a lot of things. But then, like I said, I joined Kamari on Wednesday on his live. We did a 3-hour live. So we got like 6 hours of content in this week. It was crazy. Just having conversations though. And one of the things is Instagram. If people knew how much of Instagram was fake, like. Everything is just fake. You got frauds and everybody faking. That's why I don't pay it any mind. That's why I like to build with people that I know actually have an impact, and I see the impact in the community. And I don't believe anything I see online, because half of the people that y'all love online be liars, they be scammers. Man, if I tell y'all some of the stuff, like some of the podcasts that I had an opportunity to go on, that just wanted a couple $, and I was like FOH. In fact, platform everybody believes in. I don't even want you to say that. TED Talks. You pay a couple $, you get a TED Talk anytime you want to. But when we see people on TED Talk, we put this value in it. Mm-hmm. You got a couple $, you can go on TED Talk whenever you want to. But that's
because when they first started, the they didn't actually do all of that.
I'm just telling you what I know for a fact.
I know now. I seen people on TED Talks.
But think about this though. You see it, and people put a value in that, and they think that this person is an authority figure, and what they're saying makes sense when they just paid a couple $. Right?
It's like so they can get up there and spit their game.
It's like payola in hip hop. It's like, you think that this person is a more talented rapper. Like, no, they just had a couple $. They paid to get their record played.
But it's like that on certain podcasts. It's like that on certain shows. It's like that. Like these gatekeepers literally charge a couple $, and you can get anywhere in front of a huge audience.
You can pay to be anywhere.
That's why I be anywhere. But that's why
I watch people pay to be in magazines. I watch people pay to be on shows. I watch people pay to be on finance, like the Yahoo Finance. People pay to be on everything, dog.
Listen, our platform ain't even that big. People offered us a couple $, to get on there, and because they offered us money, we won't even put them on there.
Yeah,
like, I'll let you on for free, like if I knew your work, but I can't vouch for your work. But you trying to pay me, like anyway. I was bringing that up because Tamika's right. Instagram make you lose brain cells because comparison is the thief of joy, man. So I like to tell folks that I see doing the work that you're doing the work, and impact is always greater than income, and all that stuff out there is fake anyway. I love PEMDAS. That might be the first time I've ever seen that sentence before.
She's a
teacher too. She's an educator. She's an educator too. I get it. I'm convinced the shave room was a psychological test to see how dumb we can make society. Be going wild. Like I'll be watching some stuff on there. I'm like, hold on, they really posted this.
Oh man!
Too late. I'm about to tag Corey.
No, don't tag me in none of the math.
Yeah, tag Corey above average savage. Tag him more the math questions.
You can tag me, but you're not gonna get no response. You're gonna be mad because I'm not responding.
Aunt Sally has saved a lot of it. Shout out to Aunt Sally, yo. I think it's definitely from that's probably true. Distributive property.
Yeah.
You just want to do math across from left to right. Yeah. Hey man, that's how a lot of us are taught.
Yeah. So another thing about order of operations, like think about like Dr. King, other people too, but when he talked about the definition for education, it's like it's developing intelligence, but it's also character development as well, and that's often left out of the equation a lot of times. When you think of something like order of operations, that's a way to teach discipline to young children, because like Joy just said, people just want to just go from left to right, and even me, like you'll be tempted, like you'll look at a problem on paper and be tempted to just go straight left to right. But then you gotta like remind yourself, like, no, this is what you gotta work, jump over here, deal with what's inside these parentheses first, inside this group first, right? So it's a way to like, develop discipline. And when you look at like a lot of the problems in the world, a lot of problems in the communities, oftentimes they can be traced back to individuals that never develop self-discipline. And not to say that, you know, even people that have self-discipline are perfect, because we all like might slip up sometimes, but it's another way to like we kind of overlook the value of mathematics, because from having to go through problems and do the work, it's really developing a lot of like, you know, a lot
skills.
But
you know what though? But that's why people like you are important, because you understand that and you practice that. There's a lot of bad math teachers out here who are just trying to read a textbook and go through and get their check. Like they're not understanding that, you know, because think about it this way: a lot of folks just go through just to pass the test.
Yeah.
And then they give you the state exams. You got to get a certain score in the state exams, but not digging deeper to see how math can be used as a tool of empowerment. Right. So and that's why what you're saying is so important.
And even like perseverance, just that concept of like, you know, like, because a lot of students will be like, this too much. That's a famous phrase, like this too much. But when you think about that, it's like, I mean, sometimes in life you got to persevere. Like you might go through a whole problem, take up half a sheet of paper, and then get to the answer that's wrong. And then you got to sit there and like, you know what? Now I got to go back and find my mistake. I got to fix it. I got to make it right. And how many times in our personal relationships with other human beings do somebody dirty or do somebody wrong, and they don't take accountability for it, and then they don't try to make it right. So what I'm saying is like, that's another way, like with mathematics practice, if you think about it like that, if a teacher tells you that, like, yo, you're developing this skill, right? You go through a whole problem, you get the wrong answer. All right, you got to go back and make it right now. First, you got to own the fact that you got it wrong. And now you got to go back and make it correct.
Yo,
that's transfer.
God bless God bless my aunt who just passed, man. That was her thing. Do it right or do it over. Like there's no other way around it. You're gonna do it right or you're gonna do it over. There's like, she turned me into an academic when I was like 4 years old.
Rest in power.
That's power. Like she would not allow me to get up until I did it correctly. Do it right or do it over. So handwriting practice. Like if I'm supposed to write between the lines and I write outside the lines, boom. You got to redo that. Not just one, you got to redo them all. So what she taught me was, if you're going to do it, you might as well do it right the first time, because you're going to waste more time having to redo it than doing it right the first time. She taught me to do things right the first time. Take your time the first time and not play around with it. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people play with their food. I am not one of those people. If I know how to do it correctly, I'm going to do it right the first time and not make me waste time having to redo it over and over and over and over again, right? I understand time concepts because of her. She wasn't trying to teach me about time. She was trying to give me skill. But what she taught me was more about time than skill, because I didn't want to waste time. Like I thought my time was better spent doing other things.
But that is the power of someone who's an educator versus someone who has a job, right? Because there's a difference between being an educator and having a job in education, right? My wife has like I wouldn't say a love, but she has this thing, like she understands and reads Shakespeare, and I think it's stupid, right? but we had a conversation, and what it really boils down to is, she had a teacher along the way that broke the books down and related it to like things in our neighborhood, right? So she had a teacher to kind of like, no, all he's really saying is XYZ. I never had that. I would get teachers to give me Shakespeare, and I'm like, thou art this. I'm like, man, I ain't trying to hear that, man. Like, you know what I mean? Give me a Sister Soldier book. Like, I'm not trying to hear this, right? So, but that goes to a teacher taking the extra step and understanding how to communicate with their students. And that's why, listen, I got nothing but admiration for educators and teachers. I told Corey when I first saw him like teach in front of a classroom, I was like, yo, that's like art meets science. Like, everybody can't do that. And I think that we need to put more respect on teachers' names, because a good teacher, a good educator can like
change everything.
Can change someone's life. Literally.
Changes everything.
Yeah. We kept up on these comments though. Sadly, it's not. I really have to stop myself from throwing my phone at stupidity. Yeah, that's the shade room. And also, she says, I'm from NY. You good means different things depending upon your tone. Yeah, that's right. But even that distinction, if we view math as a language, more people will relate to it. Yeah. So I was at a conference recently, and a dude was he's out in like Portland or something. He was trying to get coding put in like their school curriculum as a second language. So instead of people having to take like French or Spanish that they never use, He wanted to have like coding, and he was going through like this political thing to get it done. But I thought that was interesting. That reminded me of that when you talk about it being a language. Also, for some, it gets even more confusing when you have to do like terms and unlike terms with fractions and exponents with parentheses.
Yeah.
I'm about to cop by Akil's book just so I can get in the gym and work on my math. I speak English and Spanglish. I'm not trying to be trilingual. Yo, Tamika's hilarious, yo. Those PEMDAS combos on IG get on my nerves as someone who learned her math in Africa.
We got to talk about that.
Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out what that means, right? Is that a good thing or a bad thing when you say that? When you say that, what does that mean?
Everybody around the world thinks Americans are stupid.
Okay, all right, so maybe she's calling us dumb. Okay, got you.
Everybody that I know that's not from here look at our education system like y'all are stupid on purpose.
Well, it goes to something Akil said though, right? Akil said something earlier that's been sticking with me since he said it. Who benefits from that?
Yeah.
All right. So Ashley, I just want to know if you calling us stupid though. You know what I mean? Peace and Pan-Africanism.
Pretty much.
Yeah, we love everybody, man. We love all our people, but you basically calling us stupid. I see.
Thank you.
I equate graphing to building, driving directions, and building, surveying land houses. Like that's the crazy part. I hated geometry because I had I don't know if you met the boy, Mr. Diano. You ain't had Mr. Diano, did you? You had Mr. Harper, Mr. Diano.
I had Mr. Harper. I had Mr. Harper for physics.
Yeah, shout to Mr. Harper, man. He's a legend. But I had Mr. Diano, who was a piece of work, and he made me hate geometry, and then I ended up in real estate, and all I used was geometry. And I said, oh,
I don't know. I never went to any of those classes, so I can't tell you.
The thing about the graphs is like, so like when we think about math, like conceptually, it's like there's like three. We typically have three different ways to represent an expression or an equation. There's like the algebraic way with the equation, and then there's the graphical way. That's like the picture. So that's kind of like your Instagram. You know what I'm saying? Or like putting up a pic. So
algebra is like your Twitter, and the graphing is like, see, this is what I'm talking about. You gotta give me these analogies, man.
So you know what's crazy?
So what's the OnlyFans?
Whoa, easy. No, so the only class I struggled with in high school as far as math was calculus. All the other classes, I had those classes previous to even getting to high school. So I had algebra in 6th grade because elementary schools used to go to 6th grade. I had geometry in 7th and 8th grade because I worked at a special program. It was the Sun program. I don't know if the Sun company even exists anymore, but they taught us coding in A++, and I had geometry over the summers. And so when I got to Central and they were like, go to math class, I literally sat in math class and went to sleep the whole time because I had algebra in 6th grade. So like
I went through the same thing. I was in the Prime program at Temple University.
That was I was part of that too.
So but the one I struggled with wasn't, I guess it's math and science, was physics. Physics is what I was like.
Physics was rough.
I was like, all
Mr.
right.
Harper don't BS either.
I was like, all right, man.
He wouldn't let me cut class. Mr. Harper was like, no, you can't cut my class, bro.
Yeah, he's holding you accountable, man. That's what a good teacher, man. That's what you do. Instagram make you want to slap strangers upside the heads.
Damn.
I've had my best math instruction at the collegiate level by practitioners, not just theorists or researchers. That's a great point in general with all education, people that are practitioners, right? Because I go to a lot of these conferences related to like real estate modeling, and you see people that are just like researchers, and they be saying all these formulas, all this crazy stuff, and you be like, yo, you don't actually practice that though. You just sit in the classroom and just talk about it. Anyway, I learned how important math was when I learned that many companies get wealthy simply by lending and borrowing and making small percentages over time and in volume. It was eye-opening. Aaron, that is an excellent point. I had a conversation today with Jabbar Fairweather, right? And we were talking about real estate, and I was telling him, I was like, you ever look at the top of the food chain with all the people that had 100 doors, 200, 300 doors? They always get out of that game and they get into hard money, and they do exactly what you're saying. The people, this is something that a lot of people don't understand. The people at the highest levels of real estate deal with what he's talking about. They deal with paper. They're not changing tallest. They not, like what people think real estate is, it isn't. The people at the highest levels only deal with math. They just deal with numbers.
Yeah.
I'd rather lend money to you. You go out there and have to deal with the people, and I'm just going, But anyway, that's a whole other show. But it's all math related. because they Googled the question and got the answer and not the steps. Yeah, I may or may not be guilty of that. Tamika's wild, yo. That is important. Right?
Damn.
I will not confirm.
Who are you? Don't matriculate in college because they can't pass that intro to college math class. Yeah, man. Angela, what's good, Angela? Great discussion. We appreciate that. Champ is in the building. I love math. Made all A's in math. Calculus, algebra. English, on the other hand, I didn't
You had to be good at English to be good at higher level math, because a lot of higher level math is math.
My man put the
theory,
colon, the commas, the colons, semicolons, the quotate. Like, yeah, he got it all up there. Like, you know.
You might have see the thing about what people don't understand about the English language is that all of those things tell you at what speed to read the words. All of those things just tell you speed. If you see a period, that means you stop. Stop is a math word. Because that means you were moving at some point and you have to stop. A semicolon means to pause. Pause is a math word. So you have to understand that the English language is talking about, like those things in math are literally just English words with it's like what we use emoji. Those things are like emojis in math. Those symbols are emojis, basically. It just tells you what to do. The English language, those things are emojis.
Yo, I've seen people these days, they have full conversations with just emojis. And I think it's
exclamation
amazing.
Exclamation mark means to
we go back to
a higher tone and at a higher level, right?
Folks go ahead, Corey.
Yeah, quotation marks means that they tell you, that somebody else's those are someone else's words. You know what I mean? Like, it's not really that complex, right? So, but the thing is, math is exactly the same way. When you see a period, it means to multiply. When you see an X, is either a variable or multiplication. When you see certain symbols, it tells you exactly what to do. And so math and English are actually very, very similar, which is why when people struggle with one, they generally struggle with the other one.
See, that is my
very, very similar.
Because I don't think people understand what you said, though. So in my experience, people generally struggle with one and not the other, but because they don't see it being related.
I work in special education.
Okay.
So I see it all the time. If kids struggle with one, they struggle with the other. Math and English are very, very, very similar. So English gets taught a lot different than math does, right? So you get a lot more practice with English, right? You actually get a lot more practice with English, even though everything is mathematical around you. Practice-wise, in classroom time, you get way more time with English than you do with math, and that's because you hear the language. Right.
No, I hear you. I'm just thinking about that because if I think, I have no data to back this up. I would assume that it would be kind of like half and half because half of the stuff that we do this math, we don't even recognize as being math.
Yeah, but what I'm saying to you is everything.
I'm not denying your experience. Your experience is your experience, but in my experience, like people, there's always one or the other. I never really meet people that say I struggle with both. It's like I'm good at English. I'm good at this.
I bump into math. Almost every student that I bump into that struggles with English struggles even harder with math because most of the things are word problems. If you can't read, then it gets harder to do the word problems, right? If I can't read, then I don't know where, like, I can, even if I can add, subtract, multiply, and divide, if I can't read, I can't do the problems.
So, again, my experience, is not the reading, it's the comprehension. You know what I mean? I can read fine. Do I know what I'm reading? Can I comprehend what I'm reading? It's something different.
But that's part of it, right? Because math is the same way, right? If I look at a problem and I see a bunch of symbols I don't understand, I can't even do the problem from left to right because I don't know what the symbol means.
So, Kil, what's been your experience? Do you think that people tend to struggle in both, or is one or the other? Or what has been your experience?
I think people say they struggle in one or the other, but so with the English thing, like I think a lot of people that claim to excel in the English language, some of those people are not as
proficient as they claim
or understand. Because like I think what happens is when we judge, like when we say like when we ask the question, does this person know how to read, quote unquote, we don't necessarily look at it as can they comprehend or can they do critical analysis of can they critically read? Like we look at it, can you recognize?
Do you know the words?
Recite the out loud,
yep,
do you recite them in a way that they're expected to sound like?
Okay.
But can you reading between the lines? Can you really interpret and understand and fully comprehend? Like,
those are all critical thinking skills and all math skills.
And that's why it's like, you know, in the society we live in, like the government or corporations can put stuff out there like right in plain view, and it's like you'll be like, yo, like, well, damn, they're not even lying to us. They telling us the truth. They letting us know what it is, but they know so many people don't really understand what that means. So they're safe. They're safe.
Hey, man, Jadakiss said you want to hide something from. Never mind. But all I'll say is that that's why you got to just like, you know, as you come up this 5-paragraph essay your way out of everything, man. I was the king of the 5-paragraph essay. I bar my teachers down like
the funnel joint, right?
Yeah, I guess it's a combination of math. That just made sense to me. All right.
But let me say this too. Like one of the parallels between like English language and mathematics, like we use a lot of double negatives. English language, like if you say it is not unlikely, because even when I hear that or I read that, I'm thinking, oh, okay, like that's a double negative because not is a negative and the prefix un is another negative.
Yep.
So a lot of times that stuff confuses me. When I read that, I'm like, what are you talking about? So I gotta count up the negatives, and then I'm like, okay, this is like multiplying a negative number by another negative number, which yields us a positive. So okay, it is likely. You know what I'm saying? If you say it's not unlikely, I might write that somewhere, like, you know, trying to sound smart because I think it sounds kind of fly. You know what I'm saying? It's not unlikely, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Or like,
I understand. I thought you was talking about
it is not lost on me that blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? Like not is negative, and then something is lost. Like you don't understand something. You know what I'm saying? That means you do understand it. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're aware of this.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you got to.
Why didn't you just say aware? So that's another thing. Like, why didn't you just say I'm aware of this?
Because to Akil's point, some stuff just sounds fly.
Wanted to sound fly. Like,
I thought when you first said that, I thought you
about, like, this is why me being a mathematical person that you know does English, you know what I mean? Like, it bothers me sometimes because I see people use lots of words that don't, like, it's unnecessary.
Well,
like,
I mean, that's a whole other conversation.
It's inefficient.
It's the lack of efficiency bothers me.
Akil, I was watching Fresh the other day, one of my favorite movies. Okay. He was like, don't our Francis think you ain't nothing? And I was like, hold up, rewind that. What did you say? Don't our Francis think you ain't nothing? I was like, yo, Fresh was wilding. But anyway, that's what I thought you first said that. But anyway, shout to Fresh, man. That was a fire movie. But no. So I get what you're saying. You're saying they think they're good at English, but can they really comprehend?
Yeah, that's a serious problem. Because just like somebody, like, especially young children to be like, yeah, like I know how to read, but then the question is, do you really know how to read though?
Like, are you reading for information? Can you read for information? Right. So that's the difference. Like, so when people ask, you know, tell me that you can read. If I ask you to give me a synopsis of what you read, can you read for information? Can you tell me the main cat? Can you tell me the who, what, when, why, and where? Right. Yeah. So what I used to do with my son, right, is my oldest son, you know, CJ, is I would give him money for reading books and then writing papers. Like, you didn't get money for chores, you didn't get money for all that stuff. You got money for reading books and writing papers. And my theory is, if you can read, you can do anything. There's literally no job you can't do if you can read for understanding. If you can read for understanding and then take those concepts and do something with them, there's literally almost no job you can't do. Yeah. Like, you can't be a heart surgeon, but because you know that takes technical skill. But you will understand why a heart surgeon is doing what they're doing. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's all about that.
I just want to shout out to the Book It program at Pizza Hut, because I used to read books and get the personal pan joints. That was my twist when I was young.
They did the same. It was the same concept.
I'd be right up Stanton Ave, like, yo, I never booked them. What's good? But so shout out to the Book It program. So Latoya says, what time it'll take us to get to work, telling time of when you'll take your lunch, etc.
Yeah, all of that's mathematical.
Yeah, I live in Atlanta. I'm convinced they all scammers. All right, Tamika, here's what I say, right? I don't think everybody in Atlanta is a scammer. But what I will say is this, though. If scamming had a capital, it probably would be Atlanta. Like, yeah, I ain't gonna say everybody is, but I mean,
there are other cities that are very, very that's on their tail feather.
I mean, listen,
there's other cities that's on it because I know a lot of Scammer Anderson Lee's here and in New York.
Absolutely. There's a lot of scam.
They just not on the. They not on
the. A lot of scam careers up here.
Yeah,
I'm about to give 10 to charge for my expertise. Hey, Rock, you wouldn't be the first person to do it. Nowadays, certain TED Talks are nothing more than a glorified Toastmaster speech. Shout out to Toastmasters, though, man. That's a skill set, being able to speak in public. Can we please put that on a shirt and copyright that? Tamika's right. I'm about to do a TED Talk and talk about why Samsung Galaxy is better than iPhone. Wake up, goddammit. Hey, listen, man. Shout out to the Galaxy, man. S23 Ultra in the building. You know what I mean? Also got the iPhone, though. So, but listen, though, you could do that and then charge for your expertise about cell phones, man.
Yep.
Yo, what does Akil think about Scott Flansburgh? His book helped me read formulas like the Quran, right to left, which actually helped me do multiplication in my head better. Are you familiar with Scott Flansburgh?
I'm not. He just put me on with somebody to look up.
Okay,
I'm not familiar with dude at all.
Right, we gotta do the knowledge. See, my brother Jamil, man. Shout out to Jamil out of Detroit, man. What up, though? Jamil is just like me. We consider ourselves YouTube scholars. So we be on YouTube and all the conspiracy junk. So I don't know. I can't vouch for who Scott Flansburgh is, but we gonna look him up though, Jamil. I promise you that. He said you gotta block him. Now he's tagging you on. Oh man. Transformational. Sorry for your loss, and I love that. Do it right or do it over. Yeah. Shout out to all the aunts out there that make a difference in our lives, man. Aunts are important, man. Everybody loves their mom, but we gotta show love to the aunts too. Everybody got a favorite aunt. I don't care who you are. True educator. Fax me that. Aunt had him writing the Savior's letters to Chicago.
Damn, Jamil, right at me.
Yo, I get that whole thing, man. Shout out to the Savior's letters, man. Rest in power, to the honorable one. All right, so while we hating on Willie Shakespeare, not necessarily hating, but I think that some people are terrible. I never had a good teacher. I never had a good Shakespeare.
He rewrote Aesop's fables in Old English, man.
I'm just saying. No, what I'm saying is though, that I know a lot of people that got value from that. I just didn't. Yeah. Shout out to the coldest winter ever and all the midnight books. All the midnight books was fire. Change lives. She means the American way of teaching math is crazy. Okay, I got her. Yeah, she was cooking us a little bit. It's all good though. Still love you, Ashley. I had Deano. He made me hate out. Oh, see, you had Deano too. You know about the boy, and the boy was mad arrogant too.
Check this out too. Like I want to also say, since you brought up the concept of scammers, I want to say that the European collective, or should I say, like the European educational cartel and society in general, are one of the hugest scammers for convincing Black people that we can't do math.
Yeah, you just say napkin Americans or cauliflower conquerors or whatever you want to call them.
We convinced us over time, like that we can't.
I'm sorry.
Math is not for us, and that is for them. And it's such an elaborate scam. It's like it's the long game. It's really the long game. You know what I'm saying? Because they came to the continent, learned it from us, took it back, rebranded it. They write all
put their people's name on it.
Yeah, so I think about that too. Like I used to be more upset about like the Pythagorean theorem because I'm like, Pythagoras studied in Kemet. He learned it from us. But I also
how to become his theorem.
I'm not as mad about that because I'm like, it's like people want to have like, when you practice a religion, you want your God to look like your people. I'm like, cool. The problem is that we end up believing that A squared plus B squared plus equals C squared should be attributed to a European or a Greek. So we got to know, and then what they force it on us as if and they played it like Marimba Ani and Yorugu. She talks about universalism as like hustle. It's like they're trying to say, okay, well, this is universal, so you got to just.
I love her.
All you're doing is taking something that you do and you're calling it universal, so everybody will like. It's like a backdoor way to maintain like supremacy of your own culture.
Yeah, that's some wild psychology right there.
So what it is assimilation. What they'll call it is. Remember one of the very first things I told you, anything that has collective or coalition or what are all of those catchwords, I'm off that.
Yeah.
I don't play those games. And it's because I understand assimilation. What they'll do is they'll try to tell you that it's but here's we're sharing power or something like that. Assimilation does not share power.
How many people actually know that history you just talked about, though?
Say it again.
How many people actually know the history you just talked about?
Don't read.
That gets to the bigger issue then, right? Because we
already know people don't read.
Listen, man, I know one thing: E equals MC squared. That's Mariah Carey's formula. All right, let's see. Ashley, yeah, we caught you sending shots at us, Ash. It's all good though.
Yeah.
See,
shots.
Yo. Twitter was funny this week, though. All the submarine jokes, Twitter was going crazy this week. I will never call anyone dumb, but let's just say that once we moved here, I literally coasted through school making straight A's. Didn't actually start trying until sophomore year in college. Damn.
Yeah. That's ugly.
So you basically our educational system sucks.
Yeah, basically. She right at us.
All good. I was an MG kid in prime and had algebra in 8th grade. We really cool nerd. Yeah, listen. So prom, shot the prom. Prime was, prom was fun. English is amazing.
Amazing.
All the algebra trash you talked and you come back with the English is amazing.
She's a lawyer.
I know. I get it. Higher level math needs reading comprehension. Man, listen.
That's what I was saying earlier. You can't do higher level math without reading comprehension. You just can't do it.
Yeah.
I taught summer school and college to help kids in high school avoid coming to college and remedial math.
Man, that's love.
Yeah.
So here's another thing, and this code. So if I could jump in, this is why like one of my other goals for this book is like if we can develop within our children, comfort and confidence and a certain level of proficiency at even earlier ages, then we can actually end up learning more. Because like when Corey said, I took Algebra 1 in 6th grade. So based on my programming, right? Because I'm guilty of this too. Initially, I experienced some cognitive dissonance from hearing him say that because most people do not take Algebra 1 in 6th grade. That's unheard of. But what I'm saying is that it shouldn't be unheard of. We should be we could normalize our children being 10 years old, 11 years old, and mastering Algebra 1.
Because Algebra 1 is literally based off functional concepts. Like if you can add, subtract, multiply, and divide, you just got to figure out what order to do it in. Algebra 1 is not really that complex.
So here's the thing, right? It's about also challenging. A lot of times we say they're not ready for that. It's one of the reasons why, like with our camp, right? We put these concepts in front of them because the thing about it is, even if you don't get it, you'll be exposed to it.
Yeah,
and
then you'll be ready for it the next time you see
it. Yeah. Speaking of that, real quick though. Before I finish getting to these comments, I do want to share this. You can register at buythehoodcamp.com. This year, classes are July 1st, July 8th, July 15th, 22nd, and 29th. We figured out a way to condense it into 5 weeks. Every Saturday in July, we're going to be online from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. You can register your kid. It's completely free. You know what I'm saying? We're going to do what we do. And, just make sure you support. Please support if you can. That's buythehoodcamp.com. Please go check that out. I want to say that too, because some of the stuff that we talk about with the kids in the camp, right? We exposing them to things that they may, some people are like, oh, y'all gonna talk to them about that because you got to, you never know. Some kids pick up on this stuff and they're better than we are. You know what I mean? It is what it is.
Like,
Tamika has a question for you, Akil. She wants to know this algebra class she's in right now. You want to finish the semester for her?
I wouldn't want to rob her of the experience.
Got you. As a math major, these concepts are refreshing. Oh, that's dope. You're a math major in the building. Angela, make sure you check out Akil's new book. You know what I mean? Akil, show your book again. There you go. Akil is now a published author. That's his new book. Is available on Amazon.
How to use all this math.
How to use all this math. There are plenty of people with bad English, but they aren't aware they're bad at it. Yes, basically what Akil said. People out here trying to use $25 words with a $5 vocabulary.
Ew.
Therefore, never mind. All right.
Henceforth,
read for allowances. Don't come for NY. Shout to NY, man.
Scammer City.
Corey, drop your top 5 scammer cities that people need to know.
I give it to you, man. Listen, ATL is definitely one. I can't lie. Miami, Samuel Jackson. Samuel Jackson lives in Miami also. New York and Philly is definitely Scammervilles. Let me see. The city I've been to on the West Coast. No, not really, because I mean they scamming out west too. I ain't really been out there to feel it like that.
No, LA is a whole scam. Nobody's real. Nothing's real.
Yeah, LA the whole city trash, like scam.
The whole city's a scam.
Yeah, the whole city's a scam. The whole setup is a scam.
Scott Flansburgh nickname is the human calculator. So Corey says Atlanta, Miami, Philly, New York, and LA, all big cities. What's it? I
mean, listen, man. They
statistically speaking, they would be because those are some of the bigger cities.
And listen, that makes sense. I'm about to be in Houston, and I'm about to be in that Texas area where it's a lot of big cities. I'm gonna find out whether they scamming down there or not. You know what I mean?
I gotta look up this Scott Flansburgh guy. He's a human calculator. Let's see.
Yo, Jim, it's almost 8:30, dog.
Yeah, I'm gonna catch up on these comments. Let me catch up on these comments. Listen, the baking powder.
Yo, you called them the cauliflower conquerors. Yo, you almost sent me, dog. Yo, you wild out, bro.
Yo, I love our audience show. I definitely love
the terrorists. Yo, the alliteration.
Y'all are
since we talk about English, the alliteration here is nuts.
Y'all are, man. Oh, Kevin Trudeau, that guy. I remember Kevin Trudeau's commercials.
Oh, I remember that name.
Yeah, you remember the old school Kevin Trudeau infomercials that would come on all times of nefarious hours.
Man, listen. Let me tell you how much of a scam that Philadelphia is. How much scamming goes on here. So I went to a conference in DC. That's another scammy ass place.
I mean,
I forgot to add DC. So I went to DC to a conference, right? Because I used to track the money for the programs that Obama put into the school district. He put money into the school district, and I had to track Title I and Title IX money in the school district. That was my job, to make sure that it was being used properly. So, my job was to go to the schools to make sure, like, if they said they bought 100 pencils, I got to count out 100 pencils. They said they bought 100 computers, or they supposed to, if they had books. There was some money in there for miscellaneous stuff that you could do outside of whatever they gave you, but the stuff that you said you had to buy or the program called for, you had to buy it. So I went to this conference, man. And basically, when I went to the conference, nobody wanted to talk to me once they heard I was from Philly, because they said there's nowhere in the country that does more scamming with public funds than Philadelphia. They said your job is going to be absolutely the worst. Like, you're going to have the worst time trying to track that money because everybody did. So I was in charge of 56 schools. How many schools used all the money the correct way, mathematically?
Say 3 schools, right?
Too many.
I don't think none. Zero out of 56. And there was only one school that actually bought all the materials that they were supposed to buy. 1 out of 56.
Wow. Sheesh.
And so when I tell you I know corruption from a whole different angle, when your job is, when your purpose to track money, I know corruption in the Philadelphia school district on a level that most people can't even fathom.
That's crazy. I mean, they must have been running it, but they must have had like a Zion Williamson budget.
I had to keep a couple of them from going to jail. I was like, look, man, I'm gonna be back in 30 days. Buy the stuff that you were supposed to buy, or you going to jail, bro.
Those nicknames are wild. Yo, if nothing else, we got a ton of nicknames. I need to put the list.
Listen, I ain't even getting to my nickname bag. I got a gang of them.
Oh, listen, man. Yeah. I'm a chill. Saying black people can't do math is like saying black people can't swim. Yeah, I hate that too.
Yeah, that drives me nuts.
I think we convinced ourselves we can't do math. Yes,
Yep.
to
That's part of the
Akil's
conditioning. That's what Akil was talking about.
Basically, you calling this old. I read. I love reading. That's good. Yorugu makes me feel like I need to get my life together.
Man, changed my life.
Yeah, I gotta. Corey been trying to get me to get. I've been reading so many other things though. I gotta hurry up and get to that because Corey been like, Corey for like this last like year. That's all he talks about. So I know, you know.
Because Marimba she that work. She's that work.
I think math definitely had a lot to do with early childhood confidence. People saying keep you wrong, you become afraid of. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. Confidence. Back home in Barbados, our Canadian teacher told us that at 14 we were doing American college level math. I wasn't even an AP math. All right, so y'all just gonna sit here and just gonna poop on our education system. I mean, it's deserving. Again, I had a different experience though, but I didn't go to public school also. Like, you know what I'm saying? And Corey grew up with educators, so and then we went to Central, and Central is the greatest high school in the country. And you can look it up. You don't gotta take my word for it. You can look it up. Latoya will tell you. You can look it up.
At the time we went there, it was the best public high school in the country, and it wasn't even close.
But let me also say that college is trash. As someone who
everything.
You just coming at everything actually. Becoming a doctor, lawyer, engineer, banker like my parents wanted. I really didn't need it. I'm so glad I never went into debt for college. Scholarship, baby. So I have a different perspective, right? And I've been thinking about this. So listen, at the end of the day, guess what? It all comes down to math. Because one of the things that college has valuable, like some of the connections I made through undergrad, through grad school, through law school, are still in my Rolodex now. And that network is
worth everything.
It's probably worth more than an education and those shared experiences. So, I mean, that's a little different. Yo, in law school, those shared experiences in law school, like, yo, that Socratic method, you talk about building confidence. If you can go through that, yeah, that's something different. Had a friend who told me that she came to college in America because university back home was giving her migraines. Damn. Yep, paid to get on Forbes list. Go check out number 8. Yo, Don is wild. All right. I wouldn't say Miami is scam central, more like drug dealers and trap kings. The scamming is usually at the top in politics with the wealthy folks. It's a documentary.
No, man.
Jamil, you may have saw this documentary because you be on YouTube more than even me. It's a documentary on Chicago in the early 1900s. The underworld, it's like the black underworld of Chicago. But what's interesting is you would think they're going to sit here and talk about gangsters. They're talking about nothing but war leaders and politicians and how those worlds mix and how Chicago, that is where, like, you know, all the nastiness happened in the early 20th century. But it's very interesting, though, when you see how you know, racism, sexism, and everything played into even the underworld in Chicago. But it's pretty good, though. It's on YouTube. You know what I mean? Speaking of that, before we get through these last comments, Corey, you know we got to talk about our content we watching. So where you at on
season 5, episode 4?
Yeah, so I'm pretty much like on probably around the same place actually on season 5. I slowed down because I went to start watching 1883. And for those who don't know what we're talking about, somebody on our show recommended we watch Yellowstone. So I went back and they told us 3 weeks ago, and at this point, I done went through 5 seasons of the regular one.
I'm on season 5,
and I'm halfway done the spinoff. 1883. I'm on like episode 4, 1883, and really to for those who've never watched,
I'm not watching 1883. If it doesn't have more violence, like the reason I slowed down is because the violence slowed down.
Well, it's more political now.
Yeah, I'm off that.
Yeah, you're off the politics, but the thing is, 1883 is way more violent. It's way more violent because it's in 1883. So cats getting murked in the street, and it's like they don't even call the cops. It's just part of life. But it's all about land. It's all about land and the value of land, which makes it interesting. It's an interesting case study. Of course, we're gonna nerd out and not just talk about it. Let's see. Let me get back to these comments so we can get out of here. How y'all gonna leave out Detroit? We literally invented scam rap. This is true. Y'all definitely invented scam rap. I will play a TJ video, but it's gonna get Corey a migraine, so I'm gonna leave it alone. But y'all invented scam rap.
Yeah, man.
Y'all on the list too. You are absolutely right. We got to add them to the list. Cleveland, where you can get $1 duplex from the run to play, and then find out it ain't worth $1. Yeah, but I ain't gonna put no one's name out there. But one of the people tell me one of the top folks out there actually ain't from Cleveland. But I'm gonna leave that at that. Hold up. I'm gonna start a trust fund.
You know.
Yeah, y'all going wild, yo. Y'all going wild. Y'all going wild, yo. Y'all going wild. Unless algebra going to teach me how to keep my clothes from getting twisted in my fitted sheet. That's making me have to drive to each problems. That's it. See, I told you Jamil be on YouTube. Jamil lives on YouTube. That's exactly what I'm talking about, Jamil. It was pretty good. Anything for adults. My math sucks. I'm embarrassed. So King Tao wants to know, do you have anything specifically for adults? But I'll say, Akil, let you answer. But check out and subscribe to Akil's YouTube channel, All This Math. But any specific things you want to make King Tao aware of?
That's what I was going to say too. I'm definitely going to say check out the YouTube channel. We got over 500 videos on there now, separated into different playlists. So wherever you want to start, whatever topic, it's in there. And another thing too, like, grab the book, check the book out. Even though the book is for adults and community members and elders to be able to help young people learn. But the thing about math is like, and this is another issue that we have, because a lot of times in school, there are levels assigned to certain types of math. And then, you got a lot of like young brothers and young sisters you might be going to the 12th grade and don't have your multiplication facts memorized, but you need to have your multiplication facts memorized, and that's going to hold you back in any math class you ever take in life. But because people are embarrassed because they say, well, multiplication facts, that's baby work. That's like elementary school. You won't raise your hand in class and say nothing. You won't try to get help with it. You won't try to ask, you don't want nobody to know. So I think a lot of times we accept these labels that Western education places on certain skills, and we call it like, well, this is 9th grade math, or this is 8th grade math, or this is 10th grade math. And then you feel like, well, I'm embarrassed now because I was supposed to learn that in 4th grade. And I didn't learn it, but now I'm in 8th grade now, so I'm not even going to say nothing. So I think that's one thing I want us to think about too, is like trying to get away from these labels, because the labels are all arbitrary anyway. Like to say like, because when we say stuff like what you mentioned earlier, like he's not ready for that or she's not ready for that, like how do you know that they're not ready for that? And how
no one ever said that to me. Like I've never heard that. Like to me, like I've heard that said to other people. No one in my life has ever said that to me. Like the reason why I have irrational confidence in things that I do, because no one ever told me I couldn't do it.
But guess what? Never. You were raised in an environment with educators.
Never. I've never heard the phrase, it's too early. Like I learned how to swim when I was 5. I learned how to play poker when I was 4. I learned how to play chess when I was 5. I started playing football at 4 or 5 years old. Like hold on.
This stuff. But do you recognize that that's your reality, is not the reality?
But no, what I'm saying is I never had anybody, and I mean never, tell me that I was too young to learn anything.
But that's environment. Everybody don't come from that environment, right? So I think sometimes we have to recognize and try to figure out how to help those that don't come from that type of environment.
So I think one of the takeaways,
that's not normal.
I think one of the takeaways from this part of the conversation is to try to promote within our community for us to not push what I call it intergenerational mathematical poverty.
Trauma.
Trauma. Mathematical trauma.
And we projecting our own insecurities about math onto our own children. Because when you say stuff like, well, nah, you're not ready for that, that quite possibly is like, what you're doing. Because I think what happens is in Western education, like, the sister was talking about, Western education and whatnot. I can say, like, I think we do go through a dumbing down process. Because when you look at like babies and like 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds and how much intellectual curiosity they have. And then by the time a lot of those same young children, by the time they get to middle school, you look at like what they don't know and what they don't care about. But yet, ever spent some time, like my son Kwame is 4 years old. He always asking questions. He want to know about this. He want to know about that. So, it's fortunate. Like a lot of the times I have answers for what he's asking about, and then I can take it to another level, and I can I'm on the fly, like as an educator, I'm creating like lessons, like on the fly, like, okay, so you want to know about this? Well, let me show you about that. Let me show you about that.
That goes to environment though, right? Because one of the things I recognize is everybody's environment not the same, right? Even when you go to certain schools, when I was in school, that was promoted.
Yeah.
And I have friends that went to school, they would tell me people hit them with because I said so. You know what I mean? Like,
right back.
Yeah, they hit them with the because I said so. And that right there is problematic in the grand scheme of things, right? So let me get some more of these comments real quick. We'll be out of here soon, Core. I know young Charles is about to let us have it. So yeah. Aaron says Yellowstone is fire. Aaron, absolutely. Yellowstone is definitely fire. I might create some content around lessons learned from Yellowstone or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying it. I just
a lot of lessons.
I'm losing my patience with it because not enough people are dying.
See, I like I like political backstabbing. Corey needs to see people like physically die.
No, yeah, like I like the political backstabbing part as long as it comes with like that's why Game of Thrones and Banshee are.
Corey, you might need to sit down and talk to somebody. Your need for murder, death, kill is problematic.
Listen, I don't like. That's why I like. Listen, that's the reason why I watch Marvel movies because people get beat up along the way of the storyline. Like that's the only reason I watch it.
But y'all like for the political backstabbing, y'all like House of Cards, right?
I did till I found out Bo was a creep. But listen though, but I enjoyed it though. But real quick though, I do want to say this while we're here. Make sure you get Akil's new book. We want to make sure we support our brother. He's out here in the front lines doing the work of the Black Mathematician. The link for his book in YouTube is pinned to the top. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, I just put it in there a couple times. Make sure you support,
Brother
how
Akil.
to use all this math. Support Brother Akil because he's out here doing the work. You know what I mean? And Latoya says, "Can't is a curse word in my home." And you want to make me swing on you? Try to put a limit on my sons. I heard that.
Man, fight.
The left man is a Corey and his dying fetish. Yeah, Corey likes to see people die on screen. With that being said, though, listen, y'all. We're going to get out of here soon. Before we do, though, we got to do one more thing, Corey. You know what that is, right? Yeah. We got to give away some Bitcoin.
For sure.
Anybody who wants to get put in our giveaway, put a 1 in the chat.
Throw your ones in the air.
You're watching our Friday Live for the first time. Every Friday, we are on here from 7 until. And one of the things that we do is we give away $50 of Bitcoin. We give two people $25, and the math will tell you that's $50. We do that every Friday. Just put your one up. It's a random giveaway. We'll, put you on the wheel, spin the wheel. Look, I see Akil trying to put his 1 in the chat. Tamika said, long as she doesn't have to graph it, yo. The thing I'll say is this, right? And I know Raphael Tweet Talk was in the building too, right? So me and Tweet Talk are both data scientists and analysts. And I know that he'll probably agree with me when I say this. The thing about graphs they are important because when you give people numbers, sometimes like what I realize is in my line of work, and I only specifically deal with real estate data, but it's part narrative and part math, right? You can't just give people numbers. You have to kind of like tell the story of those numbers. Nothing helps you more than being able to use graphs and charts. For some reason, people love pie charts, they love all that. Pie charts, bar charts, they have a, irrational love of them. So graphs are important. You know what I mean? Hey, and as an attorney, you might have a case where you got to put some data on a graph or something. So, just be prepared. Let me get to this wheel. And make sure, you guys, buythehoodcamp.com. Email will be going out beginning of next week with some information.
Lawyers use math probably more than anybody besides mathematicians, man, because all of their stuff is based on previous things. Pre is a math word, meaning before.
Also, data scientists are saying, got to get visual. Storytelling is key. Absolutely. Tamika says she hears, but graphs can go to the 7th level of hell.
I ain't mad at it.
Hey, listen, man. Kill got you. Kill gonna take care of you, man. You gonna change your opinion on graphs. But let's get to the wheel of names. Bow. All right, Core. You ready to give me some assistance, bro?
For sure.
What's the first name on here?
Tamika, the one who's been giving us hell.
Okay, what else we got?
Tweet Talk. Latoya. Lorraine.
To Lorraine?
Yeah.
Okay.
Champ. Rock Noxious.
Okay.
Jose.
Sartorial guy. What's up?
Right. Ashley. Don.
Okay.
Brianna.
I'm gonna put Don.
Cheating ass V Don.
Who else? Don? You said Brianna?
Yeah.
Who else?
Alyssa, 1L.
Yeah, I don't want no smoke, Alyssa.
Nope. 1LISA.
Whoa, I'm sorry. Oh,
yeah, go back because you don't want no problems. Jamil,
not at all. Huh?
Gregory,
Mm-hmm.
Cookie,
Mm-hmm.
Samuel,
Mm-hmm.
and cheating ass Vita and trying to put his name in there twice.
All right, so Don is hilarious. And by the way, Jose just ordered the book, so we got another book order for you right there.
Appreciate that, brother.
Tamika said there's too many of y'all. I'm a poor single mother college student. All right, so let's see. So how many people we got on the we got 15 people. So what are the odds of anybody winning this with 15 people? That's the math question for today.
1 out of 15.
Okay, express that as a percentage.
15 goes into 100 how many times? It's that 6 times.
Use your phone.
6 times with some leftovers. So 6%
Use your phone. All right, don't forget to hit the love button. Absolutely, Jose. See, Tamika said she knew I was going to do that.
You got a 6.5% chance.
There we go. And by the way, after the first spin, a name comes off. So guess what? Mathematically,
chances go up.
Chances go up. There we go. All right, listen. Couple things for the first spin. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everything. We're at By the Hood. Sam, we got you already. Yeah, we got you, Sam. We're at By the Hood. What else I want to say? Oh, our podcast. Make sure you check out the most recent episode of our podcast with our brother Kamari, the Finance Rebel. Also, if you go to our YouTube channel, our last 2 videos before this one are with the Finance Rebel. So those are 2 great conversations, by the way. We talk about everything from, you name it, scamming to Charles Blow to books to all kinds of stuff, man. And Brother Kill, you promise you're gonna come back on for that conversation we gotta have about Neely Fuller versus Charles Blow.
Yeah. I want to grab that book, man, because like I said,
we got listen. No, that's not. We're gonna do some research. We're gonna make that a month or so out. We gotta do the knowledge before we have that conversation. Cause I need Corey to send me the Neely Fuller videos I need to watch, man. Because when Corey told me that, I was like, well, damn, that's a whole different perspective. But anyway, let's spin the wheel and get the first name. Good luck to everybody. I'm gonna read the names off before I hit the spin to make sure if you guys, if I missed anybody. I got Tamika, Tweet Talk, Latoya, Lorraine, Champ, Rock, Jose, Ashley, Don, Brianna, Alyssa, Jamil, Greg, Cookie, and Samuel. Give you about 15 seconds. Let me know if I missed anybody. If not, we're going to do the spin for the first person. By the way, for those that are here for the first time, if you win, let us know that you're still here. That's key, but I know you're still here. And if you are still here and you win, shoot myself, Corey, or By the Hood an inbox, and we'll get you paid this evening. All we need is your cash tag to send you the payment. I mean, for those that have won already, we pay out the same night. At JW the Blueprint, that's my name on everything. Corey's at Above Average Savage. We're also at By the Hood on everything. Or you can email us By the Hood LLC. Don't forget the LLC at gmail.com. The sequel to The Coldest Winter Ever tells the winter story after jail was really good. Yes, it was, right? So it's actually 4 books post Coldest Winter Ever. The Midnight series was fire. You know what I'm saying? I'm a huge fan of Sister Soldier. She's a legend. And her book is actually one of my favorite books of all time. It changed my idea of like literature and reading in general. So shout out to Sister Soldier. All right, so let's get ready to do a spin. Good luck, everybody. The first winner, gotta let us know you're still here. It's close. Oh, Lorraine is our first winner. Lorraine, let us know that you are still here. Because, hey, if folks are still here, we respin that. Yeah. What's the name of the Neely Fuller video? So Corey said there's a couple of them, but
let me go look on there now while we're doing this.
Charts, graphs are much more digestible. Love math and charts. All right. So Lorraine, you are still here. I see. You are a winner. Lorraine, shoot us an email, shoot me an inbox, do something. Just get with us. We want to get you paid. Get $25 a Bitcoin. Now we got one more to give away. And a good luck to everybody. All right, don't forget our camp, buythehoodcamp.com. Don't forget that as well. Don't forget to pick up Kill's book. If you're on YouTube, it's pinned to the top of the comments. If you're on Facebook, it's in the comments as well. pick up a copy of Kill's book, How to Use All This Math. All right, good luck, y'all. And the winner is my man. Champ is the winner. Champ, are you still here? I see if Champ is here, because the Champ will let us know we're here in a couple minutes. We will respin this month. So, Champ, are you here? Lorraine is here. All right, Corey, you gonna find that Neely Fuller video?
Yeah, I'm looking for it right now.
Corey, don't find it while we on. We'll put it in our group. So Champ is here. Champ is here. Tamika said, "Hey, Tamika, come back next week. We're here every week. We do this every week. Latoya says, congratulations to the winners. All right, Champ, get with me. Shoot me a message somehow. Pay you out ASAP. ASAP Ferguson. Yeah, I heard. I was watching a video today on TikTok, and dude was describing it, something, but he was naming these rappers, and boy said ASAP Ferguson. I was like, oh my god. Yo, they really don't be they be culturally clueless. Finals, I'll be studying. All right, well, bring your studies onto the show. We going, we can do it as a group project. We all about that. Anyway, with that being said, we appreciate y'all. Buythehoodcamp.com. Pick up Akil's book. Kill, man, want to say thank you, man. Congratulations on being a published author. That's an amazing accomplishment, man. We proud of you. We, going to always continue to support what it is you do. But thank you for joining us this evening, good brother.
I appreciate it, man. Love coming on here, man.
All right, I found the video.
You want to share your screen and show it?
Nah, that's an 11-minute video.
No, I'm just saying so we can see the title of it. You want to do mine? Whoa, no, I'm off that. I mean, I might throw it on throw it on Bard for you, but I ain't doing it. Notice I said Bard. I think Bard is better than Chat GPT, but that's either here nor there.
So it basically.
Good night, Toya. Good night. We appreciate you. You got a title for us, Toya?
It says "Stay away from each other."
That's the name of the title?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
It's on. They got a version of it on hip hop cartoons, but it's he has a video where he's doing it. Stay away from non-constructive people. Stay away from each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Jamil, if I find it, I'll send it to you because I'm going to do my research too. I got to do the knowledge. You know what I'm saying? All right, y'all. Listen, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We back here next Friday. Another giveaway. For those that did win, hit me up. I'm going to get you paid ASAP. Pick up Kill's book. You know what I'm saying? Register your kids for the camp or send the camp link out to somebody you know. And, we'll talk to y'all then. Love y'all. Peace.
Black people.